Welcome to Cooped Up Live, should I say. My super sporadic these days, used to be daily broadcast where I just talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. I have missed you. Schedules have been crazy, but the last couple of days, numerous people have emailed me, messaged me, texted me, saying that they missed them, and I had something to talk about today and some time, so I thought I would come live while we are waiting on folks to join. I got to remember how to do all this. CooperKoch.com is my website. Check that out at any time. At the Cooper Koch is my handle in all of the social places. Would love a follow wherever you are. And wherever you watch or listen to this, click the bell so that you get notified, subscribe, whatever, so that you know you don't miss a second of the fun. And I meant to text my mom today. She's normally the first to comment. By the way, if you're joining and haven't followed along before, comment along and all of that. So anyway, hope you were doing well. I was wanting to, my last broadcast, I think, was around the time I got my colonoscopy. I may have done one since then, but definitely one of my most recent ones was in late October when I had my colonoscopy, my very first one ever. Telling you about how it goes. Numerous people have said that they got colonoscopies as a result, and I am very happy about that. But just last Thursday, I finally actually got the results of my colonoscopy. And most people are like, what? Why was the wait that long? Like, that's just weird. And I agree. I'll tell you. So here's what happened. What had happened was I got my colonoscopy about a week later. Hey, Eric, how you doing? About a week later, I call the doctor's office. By the way, when I had my colonoscopy, they found 5 polyps, 2 of which they wanted to send off because they were kind of big and all of that, right? And that's totally normal for a first colonoscopy in people that, especially, 48 years, almost 49 years without one. That's plenty of time for these things to grow. And so he sent it off. And about a week later, maybe 10 days later, I called and I was like, hey, when am I going to hear the results of this biopsy or whatever? And they're like, oh, we need to make an appointment for you to see the doctor. And I'm like, well, that's weird. And she said, no, don't worry about it. He is super old fashioned and he only likes giving results regardless of the outcome, positive, negative, cancerous, precancerous, nothing at all. Like, he only does it in person. And I was like, well, that's annoying. But I was like, okay. And so but he's out for the next couple of weeks. So the earliest appointment that we can get you in is November the 30th, which was last Thursday, and at 3:30. And I'm like, well, that's a really long time to wait. And Thanksgiving is now in between then too. And so I kept calling in. I'm like, can I just get the results? No, he only gives them in person. What does he have happen to have any openings? No, he's out, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you're going to ruin my Thanksgiving is what you're going to do. My family is going to be worried sick. That's all they're going to talk about and all of that kind of stuff. And so I was just like, whatever. And I'm not a worrier. I'm not a person who takes a test, like a health test. And my mom is in Target and is going to miss today. Well, I didn't tell you about it, so that's part of it. But so I've always said the Serenity Prayer is one of my mantras in life. If there's, basically, to paraphrase, if there's nothing I can do about it, then just learn to release the stress and anxiety and then just stress over the things that I actually can't control. And so, but my husband does not subscribe to that. My husband is at best, a German optimist, which means they believe that the glass is half full of something that will kill you. And he's not even that. So he's already coming up with all of these scenarios of all the different things that could possibly be happening. Like why are they delaying it? What's the big news? All that kind of stuff, anyway. And then on top of it, I haven't told y'all this yet, but Todd is not working anymore. Todd came to the end of a contract term with his previous employer, Greyhound. And he is now in between engagements, right? We're fine financially. It's all good. Nothing to worry about. Actually, I think it's going to be a great thing for our family. But that to say, hobbying is his hobby. It's like the official sport of Germany, worrying is. And when Todd no longer has things at work to worry about, it's not like he has fewer worries. It's just he has an infinite number of worries. I mean, he could fill all the buckets in the world. But when there's nothing left at work to worry about, he's suddenly worried about shit at home. He's worried about my colon health. He's worried about if the roof is leaking. He's worried about the gutters. He's worried about all this kind of stuff. So, P.S. I need him to go back to work. He is actually away this week. He had a business trip already planned, paid for, and all of that. And then when they separated, he was able to keep the trip, and so he's in France. He's in Paris at the moment, probably in bed right now. But I know he went out to the D-Day sites earlier today. That was his big tour today. Tomorrow he's going to the world's largest Christmas market, or Europe's largest Christmas market, or France's largest Christmas market, something like that. So he's away for the week. But Todd was worried sick about this colonoscopy thing, and so I finally went on Thursday, and at this point, Todd is just convinced that I'm like stage 4. Like, he's already picking out the lining to my casket, all this kind of stuff, right? Like, this is how like anxiety ridden he is about this thing, which is very, very cruel on the part of the gastroenterologist. And then I was also thinking, certainly, because at one point in all the phone calls I made to the doctor's office, they said, yes, we do have your results, and the doctor will go over them with you when you have the appointment. I'm hoping that, and I don't know if this is true or not, but this is comforting myself. My hope was that he was looking at them as they came in, and if there was an issue, he was going to work me in, right? And if it's nothing, then just let it ride or whatever. So now I don't know if that's truly the case, but here's how it actually went down. So last Thursday, I go in, and again, this is like 6 full weeks after my colonoscopy, 6 full weeks. And I go in, and they have the audacity to charge me $70 copay to see the doctor because he couldn't send me via my chart or whatever the fucking results. I'm a little worked up about this. But so then I get charged a copay, which I'm sure my insurance is going to get hit for a full insurance thing. This is just a total sham, scam, whatever. Walk in, they weigh me, they take my blood pressure, they take me to an examining room. I sit in the examining room, and the doctor walks in about 5 minutes later with a laptop, and he goes, your results came back. Nothing's wrong, not even precancerous. You're all good. I'll need to see you again in 3 years. Do you have any questions? That was the entirety of the visit. And they charged me a $70 fucking copay for something that he could have sent in an email, a text, a voicemail, any of these things. Is that normal? I know most of y'all who've had colonoscopies, that's not how it goes down, right? You just get the results on my chart or something, which admittedly, if you had a problem, it might be disconcerting to be like, yeah, your results came back, you have cancer. Let's schedule a time to talk. Like I can see that side of it. But if it's nothing, I mean, when women go to the gynecologist, right, and they get a pap smear, they get the results like they're just told about it, right? Like, hey, there was something irregular. We need you to come in, or no, you're fine. You're all clear. See you next year, right? That sort of thing. So I just think that this is a grab for that. I had another doctor. And so I will not be revisiting this gynecologist, this gastroenterologist for my next visit. Monica is saying mine comes on my chart, my butt and my boobs. Yep, I agree. I think it's just crazy. But and here's my other thing on all of it. So I had a dermatologist ages ago who did the same thing. I had a mole cut off of my back, and they sent it off to be biopsied, and I had to come back in for an appointment for him to literally, and on that one, they didn't even I think I went to his office and sat in a chair. Like, they didn't even do anything. And he was like, nope, not cancerous. Thanks. Cha-ching. Oh, I just was so mad about that. Sarah's saying it's not standard at all. My chart for all the lady bits. Yeah. And again, I can understand, like, if you have an issue, they don't want to just throw it at you and then say, like, I'll see you in a month, right? But here's the other thing. And I don't know if this gastroenterologist is not aware of this situation or whatever, but in my case at least, if he were, the minute he was going to say, you have colon cancer, which I do not, if you're just joining late, I do not, it was all clear. But if he were to say, Cooper, you have colon cancer, that would have also been the very last time I saw his ass, because I would have gone immediately to Sloan Kettering, the Mayo Clinic, UT Southwestern. I wouldn't go to MD Anderson. I have a very, very strong, I won't go to a hospital in Houston. Both my daddy and my granddaddy died in hospitals in Houston. So I'm not going to Houston for any. My family is under very, very strict orders that if we are in the Houston area and I fall ill, they have my permission to drive anywhere else but Houston, because I'm not going to go there. But the, whatever, something in LA, wherever, just take, that is where I'm going to go. I'm going to go to the specialist. I'm not going to stay with this gastroenterologist that I literally only picked because he was close to my house. Because I looked at the list of recommendations and looked at who was available on my insurance. And then I picked the one closest to my house because I thought, this guy is just going to shove a camera up my ass, take some pictures, tell me if I have cancer or not, and then I'm going to go somewhere else, right? That was my thought. So Sam is saying no MD Anderson for my family anymore either. Did y'all have a bad experience there? I have no bad experience with MD Anderson at all. And actually, the truth of the matter is St. Luke's Hospital in Houston is actually where my granddaddy had all of his open heart surgeries. I think he had like 6 or 7 over time. And so to their credit, he was alive a lot longer, like 20 years longer probably than he should have been. I think he went for the first time in like 79 and he died in 99. But so to their credit, but that is where he died. And that's also where my dad had his stroke and died. So I'm just like, my dad died at Memorial Hermann, I think is the name of the hospital. So I'm like, no, let's just avoid Houston altogether. Like, no, there are plenty of other expert places. Dallas, I'm sure, has plenty as well. So anyway, and Monica's saying that one-time follow-ups did not charge a copay. That is my other thing. This was not an exam. This was part of the original thing. So they should not be allowed to. I may dispute this. I still have not. I still am butthurt, pardon the pun, about this. To me, this visit was the conclusion of the initial procedure, which has already been paid for, already been charged to my insurance, like signed, sealed, delivered, done, put in the bank, gone, right? Like there should not be, there's no more. There's no more. So, Zach saying butthurt. I know, right? These just things just come to me. Whatever. What else? So I am totally different subject. I am way behind on Christmas decorating. The only thing that we've really done is I have the 2 reindeer up in the front yard, the lights on the house, which those were all done by other people. I hung a giant wreath on the front, and then Claire and I on Saturday, I had a glass or 2 of wine, and I told Claire, I have an idea of something I want to make for the house. We always make something. And Todd's again out of town. Todd is in Paris for the week on a solo trip without us, doing all the Christmas things in magical Europe. Not there with his Christmas-loving husband, but that's a whole other thing. Not bitter at all. Not bitter at all. But so on Saturday night, Claire, I was like, Claire, let's go to Walmart and buy a bunch of cheap garland, and we're going to make this like door surround thing. So anyway, and then I ordered the rest from Home Depot, picked it up Sunday. So we have made out of PVC pipe and chicken wire and about, I think I bought 20 strands of $4 cheap garland from 9-foot garlands from Walmart, and have created this surround around the door. And then I'm going after this tonight, actually, to go get some more ornaments. And then we're going to put a ton of ornaments on it. This is going to look like a Neiman Marcus entrance or something. Like, it's going to be good. It's always going to be good. And the reality is almost everything in like displays and stuff is actually made out of like PVC 2x4s and chicken wire. So anyway, and I'm remarkably sore from doing that on Sunday. So we spent about 2 hours. We actually recorded ourselves, so doing the first half of it. So I think what I'm going to do is one of those little time lapse things if we ever get it finished for that. But that is what we did. But I have no trees up in the house. I have some garlands up on. I have both of the front and the back stairs have garlands up, but only because I'd already bought the garlands and put them up there like back in October, because I just didn't want to hang them. I have 3 mantles done we have 3 fireplaces, so I have those done. Maybe I have more done than I thought. I just don't have the fucking trees up, basically, and that need to get on that. And I think Todd probably expects that before he gets home. Did I tell you? I don't think I've told you this either, because I have not spoke with y'all. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, by the way. We over Thanksgiving break, we canceled our Egypt trip. I'm super bummed about it, but it is the right choice to make. And of course, the day we cancel it, the next morning, they call this truce or ceasefire or whatever. And I'm like, oh, great. No, it's over. But obviously it's not over. And in fact, I read earlier this week, I've not kept up in my news this week, but I did read earlier this week that Israel is pushing into South Gaza. And South Gaza literally is on the border of Egypt, and it's like 3 hours away from Cairo and some of the places we were going to be. So Todd was worried that he would be like nervous in street markets, like constantly looking over his shoulder, that sort of thing. I also think he's nervous traveling with me in such a tumultuous time, because I do stick out. I would not show up in painted nails in Egypt, though. I would tone it down a little. I don't tone it down for many people, but I do tone it down for jihadists. So Amy, hey, she says, hello. I usually watch you on YouTube, but I had to chime in live for your comeback tour. Good to see you. I still have not figured out my schedule on this. This is very cathartic for me too. It's kind of like my therapy. So I don't want to abandon it completely. Numerous of y'all have said, as Claire says, your ones and twos of fans have reached out to me and said that they miss it too. So hopefully we can do it more. What else? Did I tell y'all that for Thanksgiving we flew private? It was my first time ever flying private. So Todd's brother-in-law is a pilot, and he got this plane. It's called a PC-12, I think is what Pilatus 12. Seats 12 people. It was pressurized. It was wonderful. To fly out. So he flew out here. He flies for United, but he also does private travel stuff. And so he flew here, picked us up, and we flew out to South Carolina and then drove to North Carolina, where Todd's parents live, because they live right on the border. And then we flew on the Monday for my mother-in-law's birthday. We flew to Charleston for lunch and back. That felt very decadent. That felt very Pretty Woman, having dinner in San Francisco and the opera for the night. But that was fun. I will tell you though, going was great. Coming back, it was very, 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 very bumpy, because it was even bumpy for like regular airplanes, but it was bumpy, and I was pretty motion sick for like afterwards, like until I went to bed. And so, but I could get used to that form of travel. It was quite expensive though. I'll say the fuel we only had to pay for the fuel, and that itself was pretty expensive. So, my birthday is next week. It is a week from tomorrow? It's the 14th, and I believe the 14th is Thursday. So I will be 49 for the first time. I promise. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to stick it for, so many people stick at 49. I am looking forward to 50, because you know what? This is pretty fucking good for 50, right? I'm keeping it up, keeping the bow going in the forehead, keeping the Olay. If I don't look like a glazed donut for the first 30 minutes and last 30 minutes of the day, I am doing the day wrong, because I'm so moisturized. Had to clarify that. But yeah, and I'm also currently in that period where I have been banned from buying things for myself. I'm a grown ass adult with money, and I just buy whatever I like when I want to buy it normally. But when it comes to this time of the year, I have to promise my loved ones that I will stop, or I will at least cut back on buying things for myself, because they buy me 2 gifts within like an 11-day period. I get them a birthday and Christmas, and so it's like double hard for them to figure out what to buy for me. And so I try, and so it's really hard, and I'm not doing very well at it. I have an outfit arriving on Monday. Where is it from? Oh, it's from Zara. Super cute. And what else? I'm trying to think of what else. Because here's the other thing: is when I'm shopping for other people, I always see things I like, and I'm like, "Ooh, I like that. Maybe I'll get that in my size too." Or, "Oh, I could use that in the kitchen." Or, "I love that gadget." So, and last 2 things I have on my card today. I don't have the printed card, so I just am using cut paper. Is Mason quit soccer. And Mason was trying, so he was excellent at cross country, went to state, competed there, did pretty well there, especially considering as a freshman, it was his first year. And hang on, I keep making notes for myself on things. He did well, and he thought he wanted to play soccer. It's his first time he's at a school that has organized sports. And started going to practice and all of this kind of stuff, and just realized it wasn't his thing. He was not liking it. He did not want to do it anymore. And my inclination was to say, you signed up for it. You need to finish the season, and you just don't need to sign up for it again. However, season had not officially started yet. It was had about a month of practices, and the first game was this past Saturday. Well, last Thursday, he was like, I really just don't want to go. He was starting to like fake sick or accidentally miss the bus to the practice facility, because the school where he goes has a separate second campus, is where all the athletic facilities are, and they have a science center there too. But he was missing the bus for that, or not feeling well, just all these kinds of things. And the other thing is practices were 4 to 5 times a week, sometimes ending at 5:30 or 6 p.m., which on the other side of town, the rush hour traffic was killing me. And then they were going to have 2 games a week in the cold, always one on a weekend, and always one like either Monday or Tuesday evenings, right? And so I was starting to feel miserable about it too. And I finally went to Todd. I was like, listen, I know that it feels like a horrible lesson to say, hey, you started this, or to let him quit, like just because he doesn't like it anymore. But he was also terrible at it. And he, to his own admission, was the worst kid on the team. And I was like, I think that it would be best as a family decision, if we say it is okay for him to no longer do this. He's going to do track and field later. He loves running. He's going to be a superstar in the running part of it. So maybe his sports are cross country and track. And maybe not a team sport. Maybe team sports aren't his thing. Not everyone's good at that. And Todd begrudgingly agreed with me on that. Of course, Todd is not the one who's having to transport him back and forth to and from practices and all that kind of stuff. But I was just like, if he's going to be, I'm not going to have him miserable and me miserable. Maybe more importantly, me miserable and him miserable. Just to make a point. Principles are painful sometimes, but I did not want them to be this time. So I got my weekends and evenings back, which I was so happy about. Kelly is saying, I missed the update. I'll have to watch on YouTube later. Also, are you going to do a gift buying guide? I need to. I have so many best laid plans. I will tell you one thing that everyone needs: wireless glue gun. This little guy here is the best. I will post a link to it shortly. Actually, let me just go ahead to Amazon right now and make sure that I remember to do that. I'll post it in the comments in a moment. But the best. Oh, and yeah, and it's like $21. 4.5-star review. There's others that have better reviews, but still, because you're not fighting the cord. So if you have anyone crafty in your life or yourself, you're not fighting the cord constantly, because that's the worst is when you have it, it's got the cord and it constantly tumps over. Tumps is a word. That is the proper form of the word of tump right there. And actually, I'm just going to throw it in the comments right now. Let me, well, if this will work. Yeah, here we go. It is, but yes, I have other gift guide things. There's this thing called a loop lasso. Hey, check this out. Do I still have time? Yeah, we're good on time. Check this thing out. I don't know if I can actually, so I got this at Meow Wolf, but I saw that they sell them online, and I think every child needs one of these things. So doesn't look like much, just looks like a string with this, right? Look, watch when I turn it on. If I can get it to work right. Oh shit, I did something. I was rushing and I got it off track. Let's see if I can get it back on track. It is like the, you see that? It like levitates and you can push it up against stuff. Isn't that weird? I think this is a great gift. It glows in the dark too for kids. Loop lasso. And I think there's another one called like zip something. Anyway, but the, what else? Signed up last night. The kids are going to Japan next year for their school trip. I said it correctly, Japan. It's like $5,000 for the kids, but includes all their flights, hotels, transfers, travel, food, it's like all in, with the exception of like spending money pretty much. And it's for spring break in 2025. And that got me thinking about school trips I did as a kid. I think we went to Astroworld once and saw Milli Vanilli. I think we went to San Antonio once. We probably went to like Kingsville or something once. Basically all the South Texas highlights. And my kids are going to Japan. Oh, to be a child, a high school kid in 2024, 2025 in this case. It's going to be great. And by the way, I said kids because Claire she is done with her IC test. She scored well enough for the school where Mason goes to be happy with the scores. And while they haven't told us that she's in, I was like, can you just give me a vibe check? And they were like, yeah, you just don't need to worry too much about that. So I'm very happy. So Claire's school search, she just has to finish some essays or stuff on her application, which she's a great writer, so it'll be fine. Is almost nearing an end, which is a welcome relief. Eric is saying, are you going to chaperone the Japan trip? No, 100% no. And here is why. First of all, I cannot think of anything worse than being on a plane, a bus, a train, or any sort of major travel with like 40 to 50 teenagers, specifically teenage boys who smell like an onion factory fire. Like it is, I cannot. Oh, and then on top of the onion smell, add on, insert Axe body spray, Bath and Body Works spray, any of these things. No, not doing it. The other part where they lost me, because they do, parents can go, and actually parents can pay to go and not actually be chaperones. They can just be part of the trip too. But when they got to the part where they were like, and comfortable, clean accommodations, and I'm like, I didn't hear you say luxurious. And then they said, typically 3 and 4 star accommodations. And I'm like, I can do 4 if I'm slumming it, but I am not doing the 3-star hotels. And certainly not 6.5 feet of this in Japan. I can't even imagine the little box that they put us in. So I will be going at a different time. Another parent whose kid goes there I was texting with her last night. And she was like, she and her husband, they're considering actually planning a parallel trip. So planning their own flight so that they can fly business or first out there, planning the dates so they can stay at their own hotel nearby, a nice hotel nearby, and then just kind of going at the same time and seeing generally the same things. Maybe not on the actual, if it's private tours, you can't do it. But if they're all going to this Golden Temple the same day, or if they're all going to the street market the same day, you can go and just be there with them, right? Like that's not the end of the world. But if it's a private tour or something, you obviously can't. But she's thinking about doing a parallel trip, which part of me is like, that is genius. And part of me is like, I still think I'm going to do something else. I don't know. Todd and I maybe we can take a little trip without the kids. That would have been a great week to go to the Nile River also. Again, who knows when that's, luckily we bought the insurance on that. So we got 65% of the cash back, and then we get 35% as a trip credit for a future Uniworld cruise. So we're comfortable with that. But no chaperoning. No, I'm like, take my kids, please. Sign on the dotted line. They only opened the registration last night, and the trip only has like 6 more spots in it at this point. So very, very popular choice. So anyway, Virgin Cruise for the 2 of y'all. No kids on that line. Yeah, I know. You know what? I am not a big cruise person. I enjoy cruises if they, like a riverboat cruise sounds great because it's not about the boat. You're off the boat most of the time, exploring things, and then you're on the boat just for like a nice dinner, drinks, little piano bar, that sort of thing. I don't want to. I don't know. I'm not a big thing. I liked our Celebrity cruise in Alaska also because you stop along the way, and Celebrity is a very small, and it's and they're not like aimed at like forcing camaraderie and stuff. Like I don't want to be by the pool with pool games. I'm just not that person. I don't like that at resorts either. So, but I know people who love it, and good for you for loving it. I also love RVing, and that's not for everybody either. So, anyway, well, with that, I have missed. This felt good. I need to keep doing this a little bit more. I'm still trying to figure out the schedule again. With Mason's school, I'm now spending 2 hours a day in the car, up from about 5 minutes a day. I'm now spending 2 hours a day in the car, just getting Mason to and from school. And so I'm trying to figure out how that fits into my life, what I'm doing, all that stuff. I really just need to, I don't know what I need to do. We're not moving. It's a temporary problem. Claire starts driving in March. Mason starts driving in June, and they can't drive themselves alone at this point, but they can at least actually drive the car. So, alrighty. Well, with that, I'm gonna say bye. I don't think I missed anything in the comments. I saw a lot of y'all. Thank you for commenting. Thank God for Audible and podcasts. You know what? I have not really been doing that. Sometimes I just am silent in my thoughts, or I just play my favorite music or that sort of thing. So I need to think about figuring that out. So alrighty, well, with that, I'm going to say bye. Let's see if I remember my taglines after this time. I love you. It's important to know you are loved. I love that you watched this. Thank you so much. This is great therapy for me, and I'm just glad that you enjoy it as well. Take care of yourself. No good comes from should. And don't should yourself to death. That's what I always say. No good comes from should. And I will see you the next time. I don't know when that is. Hopefully before Christmas. Maybe before my birthday. Maybe not. I may be 49 by the time you see me next. Who knows? So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Love y'all. Bye. Bye.